Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 9th International IPM Symposium Awards Submissions Webinar. My name is Janet Hurley, and I am co-chair for the International IPM Symposium Awards Committee. My other co-chair, Shaku Nayar, is with me on mute, but we were both here, and we are here to explain to you how to apply for an IPM Symposium Awards submission. So this webinar is going to go over some brief introductions about how to complete an award application for our 4 award categories: Lifetime Achievement, IPM Practitioner, IPM Group, Team, or Organization, Graduate Student, which is new to us this year, and more importantly, what I want most people to understand is that everything that you must submit is online. You must use this link that is in the PowerPoint that you're looking at right now, but it is also on our symposium website. You must click through and complete the application there. We will not accept an application through email. We need the majority of it filled out on this survey software. The other thing that I would like to draw your attention to is that the IPM centers have the official content for the IPM roadmap. Please, please, please do read over that document before you do your submission, because you want to make sure that your submission lines up with some of the roadmap goals. So this first slide, it's a little blurry, but I wanted to blow this up so that you could see. When you actually come in to the survey into Qualtrics, this is the main page you'll get. I wanted to show you this because you can do it online on your desktop computer, laptop, but you can also, in this right-hand side, you can see that it's also mobile ready. So you can do it on a phone if you are really that good at doing it on a phone, or a tablet, or some other mobile device. Just wanted you to know that this is actually how you will see the survey. So when you get into the survey, the first thing you're going to be asked is, I want to nominate someone for. Is it Lifetime Student Award? Is it the IPM Practitioner or the IPM Team Group Project? You must click on one of those in order to go forward. Then the other things, these are just qualifiers so that the steering committee, the overall steering committee, will know who's coming from where. So is the nominee from the United States or Canada? This is North America. If you are outside of North America, that's Mexico, that's Israel, Syria, anywhere outside of North America, then please check the other box. If you are aware if the nominee has submitted a symposium session or plans to submit a talk, if you know that, say yes. If you're not sure or you don't know if they plan to present, then check one of the 2 other boxes. Again, this is just to help not only us as the awards committee, but also the program committee and the steering committee, so that we know what we're looking for. So let's get into some of the basics. Each application, no matter what you're applying for, be it the lifetime, be it the student, be it the practitioner or the team, there are 2 things that you must complete this or your application will be considered invalid. First is who is nominating. Who is going to be who is nominating the person or the group or the student? We want their name. Need to know their company or affiliation. So if it's a university or an agency, who do you work for? Your title, phone number, and a valid email. It must be a valid email so that if we have something that we need to get back to you on, we can get to you. Now, the other part is who is that nominee? Who are you actually nominating? If it is an individual, we need that name, their full name, because we want to make sure that they're not being confused with somebody else. If it is a team, in other words, and I'll show you a couple of examples, but we want to know the group name. So if it is the spotted wing group, then that's the name of the group. If it is the name of a school district, it's the name of a school district, whomever that is. Then if there is an affiliation, so say the group is part of a working group and they're in the Midwest region, if there's an affiliation, it doesn't have to be. If it is a working group and there's lots of members but there's no key affiliation, you don't have to put that, and you don't have to put a title. Only if it's a lifetime achievement, if it's a student, or if it's a practitioner. Then again, a phone number and an email. And you'll notice on the team award project that we will ask for who's the best contact person. Again, this will, if they're selected as a winner, this will help our committee. So looking at the different groups, the Lifetime Achievement Group or award is something that we have been doing since 2006, and this really is promoted for someone who's been doing integrated pest management for a lifetime of their career, not 5 years, not 10. We're looking at someone who's got 25, but preferably 30 years of more of service. We really look at somebody's whole career on this. Okay? This individual, whoever you're nominating for lifetime achievement, also has to be focused more on their integrated pest management. Not their research on a specific insect, but how they have used IPM throughout their career. Granted, we're going to ask about their accomplishments. This is, you know, in a nutshell, and 500 words is not a whole lot of words to get out there, but a good application packet will at least give us an idea of what that nominee was like. Our past award winner, George Norton or Walter Bentley, those nomination packets actually were able to tell us what we needed to know about that individual. Describing the goals of the nominees program. Okay, what were they doing? What were they trying to accomplish? Each of our Lifetime Achievement awardees has done a lot of work, but you could tell by the bulk of their application, the person who nominated them, they had some great career goals, and they were working across pests, commodities, or systems, which leads us to how did they integrate all that? Because IPM isn't all about it's about their team and their teamwork. How did they get those people involved? How did they educate? Who did they bring on? How did they help them? And what's the best outcome or the success of their program? If they're a lifetime achievement person, there's a lot of things that you could probably pull from. If there's a couple, put it in there. But again, 250 words is not a whole lot. And our system will cut you off. They will not let you put 251 words. Provide evidence of their change of knowledge, skills, behavior. This could be a testimonial. This could be something that, you know, somebody said, oh, when I was working with Dr. Norton, this is what happened. Or when I was working with Dr. Bentley, this is what happened. The other thing that, and this is only for lifetime achievement, we will accept the nominee's vita or curriculum vitae or resume. This is the only time we will accept it. We understand it is going to be large, but again, this is going to give the awards committee something to look over about how did this person spend their career. Now, what's nice about the Lifetime Achievement winner, that person who is selected for the first time in the IPM Symposium's history, we are going to have that Lifetime Achievement winner be one of our closing plenary speakers. As you all know, if you've ever attended our symposium in the past, we like to end the symposium on a high note. Our last two speakers are going to be Dr. Norton, who was, like I said, the winner from the 8th International Symposium, and then this year's winner. They will talk about their successes and hopefully inspire those of us that are still mid-career or young career of what we can expect in 30 years of practicing integrated pest management. The other thing will be is this Lifetime Achievement winner will also be able to submit a success story in the Journal of IPM. As most of you may or may not be aware, Journal IPM isn't about research as much as having a chance to put a good success story or a good spin on the hard work that we do. It's not about how much you've solved or done a research program, but if you were able to change folks' behavior, working on something that actually solved a problem or a condition or made things better, that's really what this journal article will be on. So when you're thinking about this, nominating this Lifetime Achievement individual, think about what they should focus on a journal article as well, because something tells me as the nominator, you're going to probably have to help that person distill their thoughts and help us to get that article in. All right, IPM Practitioner. This is for an individual that maybe works locally or regionally, that literally can do boots on the ground IPM implementation. This is somebody that may be in ag, forest, veterinary, urban, works for a school district, works for a city, works someplace for a nonprofit. But what we really are looking for in this particular application practice is, how has this individual made a difference by implementing IPM? I don't want to know how many programs they've done, but if they've been doing programming, how has that touched those people's lives? So I'm going to just pick on myself so that I can make this easy for everybody. In my day-to-day job, I work with school districts all across the state of Texas, and I help them with their integrated pest management programs. If I was going to nominate somebody like myself, it would be basically talking to them or nominating on how much I've helped maybe several school districts. You know, I've worked with very large districts, very small districts, so my nomination packet would be something that we would literally focus on. Then the other things that we're asking you to focus in on the nominee is, was there any economic advantages? So maybe you're talking about a crop advisor or somebody that works in an agricultural production. What have they been able to do to help with making things better? Maybe getting out those tomatoes or those almonds or that wheat, whatever it is. Was there any positive environmental outcomes? I mean, if you were working in a wetlands area or something like that, were you able to do something that be good environmental stewards? Was there any human health or veterinary advantages? Again, going back to that environmental stewardship. What was this individual's impact on that locale or that region? Now, the one thing we do not want to see is that I don't want to see someone's vita or resume. This isn't about a job promotion, and this isn't about their research. What I would prefer is if there is an outcome program summary or a good news article or a great letter of support of someone that can really speak to this individual's work, then that's really what we're looking for. And I will go into later into detail about what I'm looking for as far as that type of documentation. The IPM Team, Group, Program, Project, Organization. This has been the, I would say, the bread and the butter of what we do for the International IPM Symposium Awards. Most people understand this. This is a team or a group that has been around for a while. They've been working on some specific activity, be it reduction of sugarcane aphids in certain crops across the region, across an area. Has it been taking care of codling moss? What is it that they have been working on? Then we're going to ask you to describe this to us. And you can see that there are several areas that we're looking for. Try not to repeat yourself. Try to remember that this committee doesn't know what you're doing, and we want to be told a story. We want to know what the great work, what the integrated pest management work of this group has been doing. How were they able to change their behaviors? How were they able to change attitudes? What did they do to build the team? It's not just three guys in a back room, talking about something. Who did they get involved? What kind of local stakeholders were they working with? What kind of researchers were they working with? We want to know the whole package. Because education and awareness is extremely important to us, we also want to know how they've done that. I mean, if there is something that, they were using as educational awareness, flyers, brochures, public service announcements, those are the kind of things that we want to see in that article when we are asking you to share something that represents the work of the team. Again, this isn't on one individual. This is about the entire team working on IPM. And again, this is open to a wide variety. I'm not just looking at entomologists. We're not just looking at plant pathologists. We're looking at everybody that has anything to do with integrated pest management. Okay, new this year, and this is brand new, but we've had a lot of input for this, for graduate students. And we're starting with graduate students because we thought we could at least start with this group, see how it goes this year, and if it's a success, then hopefully in the 10th and the 11th, the 12th, in the future, we have this award added to the other 3 awards moving forward. Now, what's a little bit different about the graduate student award format is we're not asking for a whole lot of short answer questions. Basically, we want a letter of nomination from that candidate, that either master's student or graduate PhD students, faculty advisor, faculty member, department chair, about that student's performance. This is a 2-page letter. It will be able to be pasted into the text box, but I don't want to read 15 pages on how great the student is and what kind of research they've done. We want to know how they are going to strive to take on integrated pest management, IPM, not only as a student, but hopefully as a young career professional. While we're asking about how they've done some research relevant to their IPM, I really don't want to know if they are doing stuff on DNA sequencing or RNA or, anything like that. We want to know how they really, really touch IPM. It can be as simple as giving presentations to other class members. It could be doing some public outreach with master gardeners. What are they doing to help? Yes, we do want to know maybe some of their extension publication work, their research publication, their teaching assistants. Again, any types of poster presentations at professional meetings. Have they done anything as a volunteer? I've worked with enough students that sometimes you can get them to go out and work with 4-H. If they are doing that, please put that in here, because that's what we're trying to look at is, where is this individual they graduate out into what I refer to as the real world. Finally, on the graduate student award nomination, there are two separate questions. One of this is demonstrating their potential providing leadership in IPM. Again, this could be the jumping off point for that individual to go find a career in IPM once they graduate. Because I believe that most students, once they see the horizon of, oh, I'm going to graduate from my degree program, I want to go out and get a job, this is where we're hoping to help aim them in the right position to come out and work in the real world. And we really want to know how well they work with others. I've heard from enough graduate faculty members that some of our students are really good at working with others and some of them not so much. We want to know and want to recognize those who really work with others. So how do we score? I'm going to give you a little background on this. We don't normally share this, but that's why we are doing this webinar. In the past, because I have been on this committee since 2007, I will honestly tell you, people want to know, what do we look at when we do this? We have a scoring document. This is no different than if you were submitting a grant, that we actually score and we actually rank things. The first thing is on general format. All right, we're going to look at your grammar. We're going to make sure that you've given us complete sentences, that they're not run on, that we actually understand what you're trying to convey. Are you meeting the roadmap objectives? If you look at the IPM roadmap that the IPM centers have evolved and the USDA NIMFA have evolved, we want to know how close any one of these nominees are meeting those objectives. I mean, I know what I have to do in my day job. That's what we want to know about the nominee. What are they doing to help advance integrated pest management in their community? For the team awards, why was this project conducted or implemented? We need to be given a story. It's not, again, about research. We want to know the success of that project. For individuals, how have they done their implementation? What sets them apart from everybody else? But also, what does their boots on the ground program look like? Because as we all know, that some of us who've been doing IPM for well over 15 years, this takes a lot of work. Who have they had to network with? What are they doing? How are they striving? And then that team building, even if it's an individual, there is some team in IPM. You cannot do this all by yourself. You've got to be able to link with others. How have they been successful with it? And what did they accomplish by a project? Don't pick everything, except for if they're the Lifetime Achievement person, you might, but on individual awards in the team, hone it down. Give us something that we can really get a good feel for what they are doing. The other thing I want to stress at this point is, don't assume the committee knows what you're talking about. I'm going to bring this up again, but I will tell you that this is where sometimes nominators assume that the committee knows who the individual is being nominated, and that is the worst mistake you can make. So learning from our past winners, I will tell you right now that this is something that if you do nothing else, if you can look at the past applications that were awarded, you will be miles ahead of your competition. Okay? So when you get to the International IPM Symposium Awards page, if you scroll down below the awards, you will see that you've got the 2015 award recipients, the 2012 award recipients. Every one of these blue lines that you see, and I don't know if you can see my mouse, but each one of those, if you were to click on it, you would literally see that you can click on this, it will open to their application, and you will be able to actually read over that. I've given you the link here. If you are really astute and want to take a picture with your cell phone of the QR code, that will also take you to this same web page. Read over those. For those of you that may be nominating for a lifetime achievement, I cannot stress enough to please read over Dr. Norton's application and Walter Bentley's application. That should give you a strong foundation of what the committee is actually looking for. Okay. Now, looking at some individual portions of our past award winners. So last time we had the symposium, one of our award winners was the MUT Crops IPM. Everybody on this call right now and those who will join in later when they just hear the recording, I had no idea what a MUT crop was until I read the entire application process packet, and I was duly impressed of what is a MUT crop. But how we learned it was in each section, the nominator actually put in what we needed to know. So as you can see on your screen, it involved a team of university researchers, private industry, extension specialists, and local growers association, and the Holland Marsh Growers Association, which was a specific region. Okay, this told us they weren't just doing it with one extension specialist and one researcher. We could read, the committee could read that there was a group involved. Now, who was the most prominent person? Well, it was Mary Ruth McDonald. It was the local person who was in charge of everything to make sure that there was synergy within the program, who worked with those local growers. Okay, they actually, next paragraph talks about how they use co-ops and growers associations to get their message out. Again, this day and age, could it have been social media? Could it be that you were using the cell phone apps that can send out messages to growers that say, hey, it's time to go out and scout? What were you doing? The annual MUT Vegetable Growers Conference. That was very interesting to read about what they were doing at that conference. There was speakers, but there was hands-on demonstration. I mean, they really gave us a sense of what this group was doing, and that's why they were selected as a symposium winner, was because from their application process, and if you go look at their entire application, you will see we got a very good sense of, oh, this is what a MUT crop is, and this is what they were doing to help growers in the region so that they had great turnout as far as production. So for the Okanagan Kutenai sterile insect release program, this was another thing. I was like, what in the world? And of course, me being a Texan and pronouncing those first two words was challenging all on its own. But describing the goals of the program being nominated. What was the program conducted? Well, when I started reading about this, and I know enough about coddling moths to know that even in Texas they're a problem, you know, but again, spraying organophosphates isn't an easy way to control them. If you know anything about moths, moths don't just land on a crop and you can spray them and get them. Unless you're up there in the skies 10,000 feet and above, you might not do this. So through years of research and years of time, they were able to figure out what they needed to do, and they came out with this sterile insect release. In other words, they were making sure that something wasn't going to reproduce. And through their nomination practice, we were actually able to realize what this group was doing to benefit those in the British Columbia area of Canada were doing to make sure that they weren't overspraying, that they were able to save the orchards. It was a very fascinating read. Again, I had no idea what any of this was until I read this nomination. I think for me personally, that is one of the greatest things that I enjoy about the awards committee is reading about the research and the service that people do on a day-to-day basis to make things better in and around the country and the world. Hold on a second. All righty. One of the questions that is asked of the lifetime achievement is level of integration across past systems or disciplines. For some, this could be a running on sentence, but I wanted to showcase this paragraph because, first of all, when we read this, in his modest, low-key fashion, George Norton is a true integrator of teams. If you do not know Dr. Norton, yes, he is very modest and low-key. It's kind of interesting of the way that his nominator actually made you feel like you should know George better than anybody else after you read his application. But what we liked about this was how they broke down what he's been doing. Number one bullet point, he's worked with 14 nations. And, I mean, they go through it. India, the Philippines, Bangladesh, Nepal, Ecuador, the United States. All this time. Also, where, you know, Vietnam, Senegal, Guatemala. It gives you a sense of, oh, this is what that lifetime person has been doing. What kind of pests has he been involved in? Well, it wasn't just one. We've got several. Okay, so we again get a sense of what has Dr. Norton been doing. What kind of diseases has he been working with? What kind of weeds has he been working with? I mean, this tells us a little bit more than just, oh, he's always worked on such and such bug. What types of crops? Okay, anywhere from apples to tomatoes and everything else in between. That gives us an idea that, again, he's not been just focused on one little thing. He's really tried to, he's had a broad lifetime of working in IPM, and he has done a lot. And he still is doing a lot. I will be very honest with y'all, he is still working. Disciplines involved. All right, well, his primary focus was economics. But again, you don't work 30 some odd years and not also come in close contact with agronomy, entomology, plant pathology, nematology, anthropology, and weed science. It was very interesting because on the anthropology stuff, this has to go back to how's people's behavior. Changing someone's behavior is the hardest part we do in IPM, and it's the most gratifying when we as the committee can read about how somebody's made a difference. Again, that individual who is the Lifetime Achievement Award winner is going to be able to share that success with others. And for all of us on the committee, not just the awards committee, but the steering committee, this is what we feel like is the most important for the IPM Symposium Awards. All right, what to submit? Is it a letter of support or is it a document? So for the Okanagan Kutenai sterile insect release, we got a very strong letter of support. It was written by a team of individuals. I've got part of it in this slide, but what I wanted to bring out to you guys is this is what showed us that what they have been doing for 20 plus years really did make a difference, because they went through and told us this is what it was like before and this is what it's like now, you know, and they don't plan on stepping back. They've got a good program. They are leaders in what they're doing, and that's why they were awarded an IPM of an Excellence Award. For an individual, maybe there's not a good letter of support for a group, but maybe there is a good document that actually talks about their program. What have they been doing? So for Carrie Foss, one of the things that was put into her packet was the Washington State School IPM pilot project. Okay, she's been doing urban IPM. She's been the pesticide safety coordinator up in Washington State, but she's also done some other things. Well, if any of you work for Extension, you know that we have these things called outcome programs or impact statements or in-depth reports or some other documentation. That type of documentation works well as your accompanying document. We want to see what is it that that individual or team is doing. We want to know what is it that makes them set apart from others, that they are truly doing integrated pest management and that they are actually doing something that will show that they have done educational outreach, that they have done changing of behaviors, that it's not just, oh, they did 24 trainings on this, they had 45 people attend. That's not what we're looking at. We're not looking for bean counting. We're actually looking for a good story and a good supporting document that will help convey to the committee what is that individual or team doing as far as IPM goes in their group. So remember, this is a showcase of the good. We don't do enough in IPM, even though, God bless the IPM centers, the USDA NIMFA, and our own press people. But I can tell you we don't do enough of showcasing our IPM work. This is a chance for you to give us your showcase. We want to know, we want to hear from you. How are you doing your IPM program? One of the things that I have seen in the past, and I can tell you the difference, and this is the same as writing a grant, as writing an award application. Have someone read it, someone unrelated to the program, be it your spouse, be it your secretary, be it somebody else in a different department. Have somebody else read the nomination before you submit it. The reason being is they might catch the things that don't make sense. I want you to remember, we don't know you. Even if I know you, I don't know you. I'm going to pretend I don't know you. And what I want is I want that one standalone application to literally tell us a story. Tell us about that individual. Tell us about that team. And that way, if you get somebody else proofreading your document, that way you will be able to submit. Start working on this early. Do not wait till May 30th to work on this and get it submitted, because it will show. I can tell you the difference between someone who has put time and effort, like a grant packet, as if somebody has just thrown this together. And sometimes the ones that I see thrown together, because like I said, I've been on this for a while, really upset me on a personal level, because I don't feel you've given that nominee the respect that they deserve to go up for an International IPM Symposium Awards. Make the effort. The more effort you put in, the better the packet will be. Again, proofread your narratives. I strongly, strongly suggest taking those questions, putting it in a Word document, running it through grammar, spell check, and everything else, and then cutting and pasting into the survey. It will allow you to do that. That way you know that you've got everything correct. It will also, if you do it in Word, use the word count part so that you know that you've got the right amount of words. If it's 500 words, keep it to 500. If it's 300, keep it to 300, because the Qualtrics survey will cut you off. And nothing is more frustrating is the best sentence is the last sentence, and we only get the first 3 words of the last sentence. Well, we don't read minds. I don't know anybody on the committee that is a mind reader, myself included. So we really want you guys to take the time to submit a great application, because I think this time our award winners are going to be so lucky. Not only does the Lifetime Achievement a winner going to have a place to present, but some of our other winners will also have a chance to submit their success stories in the Journal of IPM at no cost to them. And if there's room in our program, we want to showcase those winners with a program rather than an awards luncheon where you get to see a PowerPoint and you don't really get to hear the work that they've done. This year we have changed that so that, yes, you'll know the winners at the beginning of the conference, but through the rest of the conference you will have a chance to hear their true success stories in person. So that, again, if you're a young professional and you want to achieve to be a George Norton or a Walter Bentley, you're going to have a chance to hear from not just those individuals but others like them that have been doing this for a lifetime. So with all of that said, we have got 15 minutes for questions. And you can either raise your hand or we can go into a chat pod. Okay. Ashley, I believe your hand is raised. Is that correct?
Me too.
Okay, do you have a question or not?
Can you hear me, Janet?
I can hear you.
Oh, you can. No, I don't have any questions. I was trying to figure out how to work the program. I think I accidentally did that. No, I don't have any questions, Janet. Thank you so much. That was a very good presentation.
Okay.
Very informative.
All right. Okay. Charles Burke.
I do. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So just to be clear, the team award is the only one for which you can have multiple nominees. All the others are required to be an individual nominee.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct. And I will be very honest with you, Charles. Generally, we have more team awards, and our problem in the past was separating the two, an IPM individual from a team. So it's one or the other.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay. Anybody else? Wow. Well, if there's no other questions, I mean, I will let everybody go and they can go back to their daily job, and I appreciate everybody for dialing in. We hope to have the recording posted no later than Monday, May the 8th, up on the International IPM Symposium webinar. We'll swap out. Come join us to here is the recorded so that you can go back and look at it. Again, if you need to reach out to myself or to Shaku, we'll be happy to. You can either get with Elaine Wolf or Michelle Marquette, whose names and emails are all over the International IPM Symposium website. And we'll be glad to try and answer your questions. We do have to be somewhat careful because we don't want to show bias. But we do understand that sometimes when you get into this, you do have a couple of questions, so we're more than willing to help you with that. And if there's nothing else, then I will let you all go. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. And we look forward to your applications.